Probably the best quarterback in the SEC is Stetson Bennett.
Meet your 2020 college football playoff nominees. Man, were we spoiled last week. We were so spoiled. Such a great weekend of college football last week to where this week, there really aren't that many good games. There just aren't. The best game I could find is probably Notre Dame at Boston College. Yeah. Texas A&M at Tennessee. And Tennessee's garbage. So yeah, not many great games this week, but we'll still have picks. But we're going to do this week a little bit differently. I'm actually going to spend more time talking about last week and what happened with the playoff. If you only are interested in the picks, skip to this timestamp, and you can go check out those picks if you're not interested in last week's recap. But we are going to go into last week's recap and how the playoff picture most definitely changed. It started on Friday. BYU. A lot of people had questions about BYU, including me. And I was like, if they can get a big statement win over a ranked team in Boise State, they're going to shoot up in consideration for a lot of people. And that's exactly what they did. 51-17, and 14 of those points for Boise State were in garbage time. Wow. They went out, and that was their statement win. Zach Wilson, 22 of 28, 360 yards, 3 touchdowns. Tyler Alliger, 14 carries, 123 yards, 2 touchdowns. They just, man, were they good. They might have a chance to make the playoff now. I thought maybe if they didn't have a ranked win or anything. If they lost this game, obviously no way. If Boise State can win the rest of their games and win their conference, this will look like a great win for BYU. It already does look like a very good win. And I think BYU might have a chance to make the playoff, but a lot of stuff's going to have to happen ahead of them. But it's not totally out of the question. Congrats to the Miami man. Congrats, Miami man. They beat NC State in a come-from-behind victory. I picked NC State to win. Friday week, one of these weird ones where you got to travel on a Friday. They went out and they got it done. So congrats to the Miami man. They kind of have a chance to make the playoff. But, they would need need Clemson to lose to, get to the ACC championship game. It's slim and none, but it is still there. Ohio State dominated Rutgers. Whippity-doo. Cincinnati dominated Houston. Whippity-doo. They definitely very much control their destiny, I feel like, in making the playoff. Texas A&M, another team who needs to keep winning to make it to the playoff. 48-3 over South Carolina. Nice dominating win there. Pac-12 back in action. Oregon. The Ducks, the Quacks, they beat Stanford 35-14. Will they make the playoff if they go 7-0? I don't know. I really don't know. Would you rather have a 10-1 or a 9-1 Texas A&M or a 7-0 Oregon? I think they would take a 7-0 Oregon, mostly because they would have a division championship and a conference championship and no losses, all of which Texas A&M would not have. That'll be a good debate, though. Indiana throttled Michigan. Man, this Joe Milton, he actually played really well. It's just Michigan's defense is terrible. 38 points to Indiana. That's just unexcusable. Sorry, Michigan, man. Season over. Season was already over after you lost to MSU. That's just a fact. But Indiana, they're ranked in the top 10. They're ranked number 10. This is the highest Indiana's been ranked, I think, ever. Crazy stuff there. Indiana has a big game up against. If they beat Ohio State, they're going to win the division. That's the only game I see them losing. If they can beat Ohio State, who knows? I'm not saying that they're going to go out there and kill Ohio State, but it's definitely not beyond their own possibility. Oklahoma State barely keeps their playoff hopes alive. They win 20-18 over Kansas State. They really need to win out, and they would probably need some teams ahead of them to lose, but they still definitely have a chance. Coastal Carolina is the last undefeated team in the state of South Carolina. Just wow. 7-0 are the Grayson McCall-led Chanticleers, and they are climbing up rankings. Here's the problem for Coastal Carolina. I think, you got to think of there's 4 undefeated non-Power 5 teams. Cincinnati, BYU, Coastal, and Liberty. BYU is ranked ahead, or Cincinnati is ranked ahead of BYU. BYU is ranked ahead of Coastal. Coastal is ranked ahead of Liberty. So that just shows you how the committee thinks of those teams. So that would mean that in order for BYU to get in, Cincinnati would have to lose. In order for Coastal to get in, BYU and Cincinnati would have to lose. You'll get what I'm saying? I think you'll get what I'm saying. And Marshall remains undefeated. 51-10 win over UMass. Whoopity-doo. Iowa State won. SMU won. All right. Now I think it's time to talk about the Georgia-Florida game. Probably the best quarterback in the SEC, this Stetson Bennett. How about 5 for 16, 78 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Georgia's up 14-0 in this game after a fluke 75-yard touchdown, and then I think like a turnover from Florida or something. But Kyle Trask, I think, is your Heisman frontrunner. I think he is. I think he definitely passed Trevor Lawrence. More on him later. 30 of 43, 474 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a pick. Pick was kind of badly thrown, but man, did he look good. I like him a lot better than I do Mac Jones. A lot of halfback wheel for Florida. They just were running their halfbacks on these little wheel routes. It was 30. They scored 38 points in the first half of that game. They kind of just laid down and did nothing the second half. They could have put 60 on Georgia if they wanted to. That just shows you how dominant Florida is against probably the best defense in the SEC. Put up 44 points. I really think Florida's going to have a really good chance to walk into Mercedes-Benz Stadium and beat Alabama in the SEC championship game, because they have officially won the East. The only way they would have to lose the East is they would have to lose 2 more games, and Georgia would have to win out, which Florida won't lose the rest of the year. That's just not going to happen. Now, the game of the year, Clemson and Notre Dame. Nobody gave the Notre Dame man any chance of this game. No one picked Notre Dame. Of all the people that I watch that do college football picks, JT, Luke, all these people, nobody picked Notre Dame. And they pull off the 47-40 win in double overtime. This game was like a perfect storm of the win probability charts just going all over the place. First play of the game, Kyren Williams with a 65-yard touchdown run, bursting a gap through Clemson's defense, going all the way for the touchdown. Set the tone early, and then Notre Dame field goal made it 10-0, but Clemson was crawling back. Cornell Powell hauled in a 53-yard touchdown pass from DJ Uiagalelei. That's how you pronounce his name. I know a lot of people were having problems with that. The team sort of traded field goals from then on. It was 13-10, and then, man, I don't know what's happening with Travis Etienne. Uiagalelei pitches in the ball, and he bobbles it, and then gives it right to the defense. And he's running free for a touchdown. Jeremiah Owusu-Kamara. He had himself a game. Forced fumble. I'm using forced fumble in quotes since Etienne kind of did all the work for him. But scored a touchdown, had like a ton of TFLs. He played great. But again, back and forth throughout the game. It was Clemson ended up scoring a touchdown. Travis Etienne, 3-yard touchdown run with 3 minutes to go to take the lead. So then, and then I think Clemson actually got the ball back with like a minute to go. All they have to do is just run the clock out, make Notre Dame burn their timeouts. And Travis Etienne, right? He runs out of bounds. Very odd mistake from an experienced player like Etienne. He had himself a terrible game. He did not play well at all. He had like 29 rushing yards. Notre Dame shut him down. And what does Notre Dame do? They come back and get the ball. And then they go down and score. Now, here's why I think Clemson's going to be cursed. Overtime. They score on the first play, right? Or no, they scored on the second. They threw a touchdown on the first play. They called him short or whatever. But after that, Clemson's wide receiver, I think it was Powell. He's like, oh, they can't fuck with us. And what happened after that? Kyren Williams goes right down and scores for Notre Dame. And then Kyren Williams scored again to start the overtime, Clemson allows 2 enormous sacks, 4th and 24. They can't get anything going, and that's it. Notre Dame upsets Clemson at home. Wow. That's crazy. Now, here's the thing. Trevor Lawrence is out. Trevor Lawrence wasn't doing anything in that game. DJ Uiagalelei outplayed Ian Book. He did. Ian Book had 310 yards and a touchdown. DJ Uiagalelei had 439 yards and 2 touchdowns, 29 of 44 passing. That's really good. This guy's probably just as good as Trevor Lawrence. I kid you not. This guy's going to be a star next year when Trevor Lawrence leaves. Trevor Lawrence wasn't doing anything in that game. And ETN, man, he doesn't look like himself. I really think Notre Dame could beat Clemson again in the ACC championship game. So right now, your rankings are... The rankings were interesting. I'm going to be coming out with my own top 10 on Thursday or Wednesday. One of those days, I will be coming out with a rankings video that I think you guys are really going to like. The rankings are Bama, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Clemson, Texas A&M, Florida, Cincinnati, BYU, Miami, Indiana, Oregon, Georgia, Wisconsin, Oklahoma State, Coastal Carolina. Those are your teams that have a chance to make the playoff. I think Bama, winner of Bama, Florida's in. Winner of Notre Dame, Clemson's in. If Clemson wins, will Notre Dame drop out? I don't think so. I don't think they will. So if you're a team like Texas A&M or BYU or Cincinnati or Oregon or like a team on the outside looking in going into that conference championship weekend, you're going to need Notre Dame to lose. You're going to need Notre Dame to win and maybe need Alabama to win. Because the fact that they ranked Bama 1 shows they got a lot of respect for Bama. That Texas A&M win that Bama has is looking really good as they continue to win. So if you're a team like Cincinnati, BYU, Oregon, Texas A&M, you're going to need Alabama to win, and you're going to need Notre Dame to win. That's basically what happened throughout the conference championship weekend. Now let's get into the picks. Disregard this. These are just NFL teams that I can just drag and drop when need be. So disregard that. How did we do last week? 7-5. Not great. We're 112-58 overall. I'd say that looks like that's pretty good. There were 2 games this week that got canceled that I'm really upset about. Texas A&M, Tennessee, and Alabama, LSU. Those are 2 games I was looking forward to. No feature games just because I don't even know what games you'd put. There are not many good games this week. The best games, probably Notre Dame at Boston College, if I had to guess. But, yeah, that's like a stretch. But let's get into it. Michigan State and Indiana. Michigan State looked terrible last week, getting embarrassed by Iowa. I think Indiana should have an easy win here. They're number 10 in the country, their highest ranking, I think, ever. Virginia Tech hosting Miami. I'm going to take Virginia Tech. They're looking for a bit of a revenge game after losing to an in-state rival in Liberty. I'm going to take Virginia Tech. I'm going to take Coastal Carolina over Troy. They continue to win, and they continue to make their bid for a New Year's Six bowl. I think if they go undefeated, they definitely should get one, or they could get one. I don't know. Big 12. Sun Belt's not as good as Big 12. We know that. I'll take Georgia over Mizzou. This is going to be a team that's a little bit demoralized after losing out on making the playoff and winning the East, but they should be able to beat Mizzou. 2 0-3 teams. Yikes. What a joke these 2 teams are. Penn State and Nebraska. Man, Penn State lost to Maryland last week. That is an embarrassment. Taulia Tagovailoa, Tua's little brother, he played really well. I think they should be able to beat Nebraska, though Nebraska is just a dumpster fire. Liberty, they have an easy FCS game here against Western Carolina. I want to see how long they can stay undefeated. They actually end the season against Coastal Carolina. Those will probably be 2 undefeated non-Power 5 teams. Winner probably going to the big bowl. That'll be a huge game. I think Notre Dame over Boston College, although I think Boston College can keep it close here at home. Expect them to keep it closer than a lot of people are saying. Ohio State will beat the bejesus out of Maryland. Maryland lost 43-3 to Northwestern. What do you think Ohio State's going to do to them? I think USC over Arizona. They got a great come from behind win against Jalen Daniels and Arizona State. They were down 13 with like a minute to go. They got a touchdown, got the onside kick, got another touchdown. So USC looking really good there. I'm going to take them over Arizona. The Felipe Franks homecoming. Him and Arkansas travel to Gainesville to face the Gators. Gators are riding high. I think they keep up their winning streak, although I think Arkansas might come out to like a lead in this game, but Florida will eventually respond. Oregon and Washington State. Oregon's had some trouble with Washington State on the pass, and on the road, this could be an interesting game, but I still think Oregon will win. Northwestern and Purdue. Who would have thought that both of these two teams would be undefeated in the Big Ten? I'm going to take Northwestern. That coach, Pat Fitzgerald, he is a stud. I like him a lot. Northwestern locked him up for a while before a big school came in and swooped in and got him. So Northwestern is definitely a very good team. I think they'll beat Purdue. Wisconsin, I think, will beat Michigan. They finally got their quarterback, Graham Mertz, back. This guy's a star. Played really well against, who did they beat? Illinois, threw like 5 touchdowns. We know what a joke Michigan's been this year, getting embarrassed by Michigan State and Indiana. I think Wisconsin will win. I'll take SMU over Tulsa. This will be a good game at Tulsa. I think SMU will be able to get it done and win and keep their American Conference Championship hopes alive. So those are the picks. Kind of a boring week of college football, but I tried to make it up for you with some cool stuff in the intro and everything. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.